Richard Kensington, Principal Academic Relations for Up Education here in New Zealand. I'm pictured here in front of an image of the Parliament buildings in Wellington, our capital city. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about our FPP program, which is a preparation program for international students. I'll just share my screen. Nau mai, haere mai. Welcome. Welcome in Maori, which is the native people's language here in New Zealand. I'd like to cover 4 areas in this presentation. Why New Zealand? Our New Zealand University partners. What is this program? And what is foundation in getting into university? New Zealand is a safe country in the Southwest Pacific. We are isolated from much of the world's troubles, and in this COVID era, we're extremely isolated and protected by a large moat, a sea around New Zealand. It's a safe place to start a career. It's a peaceful country, known for our extremely high appreciation of human rights, and in terms of education, we are ranked the 3rd in the world. We have high levels of integrity. What we say we're going to do, we actually do. Our government is transparent. We're not a corrupt country, and we're known to being globally creative. It's also a fun place to explore, and this is bungee jumping in our tourist mecca, Queenstown, in the South Island of New Zealand. It's also a great place to study and a safe place to study. We are an uncrowded country. If you look at the United Kingdom and Japan and the populations of those countries, New Zealand has 5 million people in the same area. In terms of an educational pathway to New Zealand, what do parents want for their children and why study in New Zealand? And these are the same questions asked by parents in any country in the world. So in terms of parental expectations, they're generally looking for a university that's highly ranked. They're looking for a safe country, a place that will look after their children, and a program which will provide pathways with a degree of certainty. So we can offer a pathway which delivers academic and university success with possible employment and eventually residency in New Zealand. Some of the reasons for studying in New Zealand are our universities in the top 500 of the world, or another way of expressing it, our universities are in the top 3% of all universities in the world. Our qualifications are respected and transportable. We're a safe place to live, as I talked about before, and it offers peace and prosperity. Up Education works with 3 of the 8 universities in New Zealand. And in New Zealand, there are no private universities. They're all owned by the New Zealand government. So 2 of the universities we work with are in Auckland, AUT and University of Auckland, and Wellington, the Victoria University of Wellington is in our capital city. Auckland, a city of 1.7 million people. Recently, The Economist nominated us as the first most livable city in the world. It's our financial hub, it's our largest city, and it's known as the city of sails because the harbour in the weekends is full of yachts sailing. It's the home of the University of Auckland, which is our #1 university in New Zealand, our top 100 university, and for the 2022 QS rankings, it is ranked 85th in the world. AUT University is a younger university. It's been in operation for nearly 100 years, but prior to being a university, it was an institute of technology. And even though it's only been a university for nearly 25 years, its ranking in the world is 457. In Wellington, our capital city, is a small city of 500,000 people. It's our technological city, our city of film and television and entertainment. It's our version of Bollywood. We call it Wellywood. And The Economist also ranked Wellington as being the 4th most livable city in the world, which is pretty good to have 2 of the top 10 cities in the world actually being in New Zealand. Here we have Victoria University of Wellington, the ranking of 236 in the world. Traditionally, students in many countries of the world where they operate a 12-year education system, many students at the end of year 10 make decisions, or parents make decisions. Will they remain and continue their year 11 and 12 studies, or will they look at a foundation program? And we have had thousands of students every year since 1998 study foundation with us. And one of the advantages of foundation, it better prepares you for university. It provides you with guaranteed places at the university. And more importantly, it actually will save you time and money to graduation. You will save a whole 12 months of time. The FPP program is an abbreviation for Foundation Preparation Pathway Program. It's a program preparing you to commence a pathway ending up with university. It's a specialised program and it's targeted at our 3 university partners. It prepares students and shapes them for future knowledge, skills and confidence. It provides the background and the key subject areas that we deliver in the FPP program. This program is for international students. In terms of the requirements to get into this program, you need to have an English level of at least an IELTS of 5, and the majority of Indian students that I've been introduced to over the last few years definitely exceed that English level. And in terms of your academic proficiency, we are looking for students with at least 80% in the Year 10 examinations in India, or they've completed GCSE and have a couple of Bs and a couple of Cs. The program itself, there are 3 versions of this program. The shortest version of the program is only a 4 to 5 week program, and that would be aiming at students who have finished Year 12. But all students would study the same program, which is there's an English course, there's a tertiary studies skills course, which is focusing on essay writing, note-taking, bibliographies, assignments, group work, and also students study 3 of 4 academic subjects. The next fastest program is 12 weeks, and that's aimed at students who have finished Year 11. And for most students in most countries, they will be doing the standard pathway, which is essentially an 18-week program, 17 weeks of study, followed by 1 week of exams. The program itself has been developed by our teachers in New Zealand. We have provided everything, the tests, the assignments, the schedules of work. We've nominated the textbooks, but your teachers in your school will deliver the program to you. At the end of the course, there are some online examinations to be undertaken, and these are marked by our staff here in New Zealand. We would expect all Year 10 students to pass the course, which means at the very least they're eligible for a 12-month program. But that's not the advantage of this program. The advantage of this program is students who do well can actually shorten the length of time they do in foundation. The program is not targeted to weak students, because if you go back to the page on the academic entry requirements, if you look at the GCSE and the IELTS requirement, they are the requirements we expect for any student in the world who is able to travel to New Zealand or is currently in New Zealand to study a 1-year foundation program. The course itself involves 3 exams at the end of the course. And we are waiving, in other words, students will not need to pay the examination fee if they commence this program in 2021. Students will also need to present a qualifying IELTS at the end of the course, and they have 1 assignment, an internally assessed assignment, which is undertaken for tertiary study schools. The pathway is guaranteed, and that means if you complete the FPP program and meet the requirements to commence the foundation program, you are guaranteed a place in that foundation program. If you know what university and degree you want to study, if you meet those requirements in foundation, you're guaranteed a place in the foundation program. And generally this guarantee is based on English level and marks, but there are some variations, and some degree courses will nominate some specific subjects you must study. Some degree courses want a higher aggregate score, and some may also require an interview or portfolio. Our programs vary. We have 3 university foundation programs, and they're all slightly different. And as said, we've been delivering the foundation for over 20 years. In fact, successfully enabled 14,000 international students to graduate from our foundation courses and to commence university in one of the 3 universities we work with in New Zealand. So if you look at the University of Auckland, which tends to be the #1 choice for most students, to get into our shortest foundation program, our 5-6 month foundation program, in the FPP program, you need to have an IELTS of 6 when you complete, and you need to have a GPA from the 3 exams that you will be sitting of equal or greater to 85%. If your marks are lower or your IELTS bands are lower, then we can offer a longer length program like fast track or standard. So this diagram presents that information in a different format, but essentially the same thing. Accelerated, the one on the left, is the target for most students. You get the best advantage out of studying the FPP program when you get into accelerated. Once you graduated from the FPP program, the foundation program, and it doesn't matter whether you do the 12-month course or the 9-month or the 6-month course, the structure of the program is the same. There's one compulsory subject. You need to complete English for academic purposes, and then you have 4 academic subjects to study. Some degree pathways at university will specify the subjects you need to study, and most will not. And you need to select generally the 4 subjects that you know you'll do the best in and get the highest level of result. And these subjects will be studied for the 2 terms if you're doing accelerated, for the whole 2 terms. At the end of the term, you'll have a final assessment, but you'll also have internal assessment during the course. Exiting foundation to go to university, there are specific requirements for each degree pathway. Here on this slide, I've circled the Bachelor of Commerce. University of Auckland calls a Bachelor of Business a Bachelor of Commerce. That's the only difference. And it says there that you need to get 260 in your 4 exams or 4 academic subjects and have an English grade of B, an EAP result of B. If you meet those requirements, you are guaranteed a place in the business school. This example is for engineering, and engineering is a 4-year degree, an honours degree. And here the marks required are higher, 300 out of 400. And you notice there on the right, you must include calculus and physics in your study plan, and you must end up with English grade of B+. So if you meet those requirements, you're guaranteed a place in semester 1. Sometimes students can enter in semester 2, but it depends on the amount of space. Interested in nursing, then the requirements are also specified out there. You need to get 290, you need to get a B+ in English, and you must study one of a number of subjects there, plus be available for an interview. We will send you a copy of the Certificate in Foundation Studies brochure, and there you will find the details of all the degree pathways available from the University of Auckland, and with more information about the University of Auckland, New Zealand's #1 university. Victoria University of Wellington and AUT University, the structure of their foundation programs is similar, but the contents of their programs is different. Essentially, they have a shorter program, a medium length program, and a faster program, and the GPA required to get into these tracks are 5% lower than for University of Auckland. So whereas University of Auckland wanted greater than 85% for the shortest length, AUT and Victoria only require 80%. And this diagram spells it out in a different format. The AUT program involves 4 compulsory subjects, and then students study 4 optional or 4 academic subjects. So if you're in the 2-term program, you have 8 subjects to study, and you'll study 4 in one term and 4 in the next term. English 1, English 2, Culture and Society, which is like the life and customs in New Zealand, and Tertiary Studies Skills, which is very similar to what you'll do in the FPP program. And then for the optional subjects, you will pick the subjects that are relevant for your degree pathway or ones that you will do well in. When you think with the University of Auckland program, you would study a program for 20 weeks before a final assessment. With the AUT program and also the Victoria in a moment, you only study it for 10 weeks and you'll have an assessment at the end of that term. It's a very intense program, but it has an extremely high level of success. And they also offer degree pathways, guaranteed degree pathways if you meet requirements. And I've just circled the example there of one, a Bachelor of International Hospitality Management, where you need 200. In other words, in your 4 academic subjects, you must get 50 or greater with a total of 200. And for English 2, you must get 65%. The AUT details are in their brochure. The Victoria University of Wellington Foundation Studies program is slightly different. It looks the same, but it is different. One big difference is 50% is required in each subject to pass, unlike AUT, which requires 65% for English 2. Second difference is the subjects that are compulsory. You can see there English 1 and English 2 is similar to AUT. Culture and Society is similar to AUT, but the maths is an introductory mathematics. If you are competent at year 10 maths in India, you will find introductory maths very easy. And then it comes to the optional academic subjects. You need to study 6 of these. So if you are in the 2-term program, you have 10 subjects to study. 5 you'll study in the first term and 5 you'll study in the second term. At the end of the course, getting into the university, you will find with every degree pathway, they only require you to pass each subject. So long as you've passed each subject, got 50% in all your 10 subjects, you have met the academic and English requirements to get into the university. There are some degrees that may specify subjects you may have must study, and there are some degrees that are only available in the first trimester, February, and some that are available to start in both intakes, February and July. Their details are in their brochure. So in terms of applying to study the FPP program, the college will handle that side of the process, but we also need to know information about you. We will be offering you a conditional offer into the foundation program. We will not be questioning the decision the school has made. So if the school has allowed you to commence the FPP program, as long as you meet our requirements on an application form, we will issue you with a conditional offer. We need to know the name of the university you want to study the foundation program for, and at this time, what is the degree you would like to study at the university? You can change this later on. It's not locked in concrete. And we will then respond with a welcome letter to Up Education, and we'll provide you with a conditional offer to foundation. And then also on the university's own letterhead, we will provide you with a conditional offer to the university that relates to the foundation program you're going to study, and it will also list the requirements for that particular degree. And it will issue you an examination fee request. But as I said before, students who join the FPP program this year, we will waive that fee. You will not need to pay that fee. Once the exam results are out, we will upgrade the offers and send these to you within 14 days of the exams. So where does the FPP program fit into that diagram I showed you earlier? Well, you can see there I've added an extra line onto the program, and you can see there that the FPP program takes, plus the accelerated foundation, takes exactly the same length of time as the standard foundation, plus 3 years at university. They both will enable you to finish university 1 year earlier than if you'd completed your education in India and then gone on to university in New Zealand. And the same would happen if you went on to university in Australia or other countries. The FPP program is studied in the school. The fees required for that program are less. The Accelerated Foundation program, given the challenges of COVID at the moment, will be delivered online, and the school will assist in providing you with space to study that program in your school, so you can work with the other students who are also studying foundation. And then you can commence the university. So this program does immerse you into a lot of study. It does provide you with guaranteed pathways, and it does provide you entry into top universities in New Zealand. For successful students, if you meet the requirements for a 2-term foundation program, there's an automatic scholarship of $3,000. And for every 20-25 students in a group graduating from your school, we will also provide a high achiever scholarship of $5,000, which essentially means that the top student will probably only have to pay 50% of the foundation fee. If the border is closed at the end of the FPP program, and that means our border, the New Zealand border, and it's unlikely to open until some stage next year, our foundation programs are delivered online. And currently throughout the world, we have more students studying foundation online than we did having students who came to New Zealand to complete foundation. And one of the advantages of studying foundation online at home, you are supervised by your parents, and they are very keen that you work and don't get distracted. But probably more importantly, the cost involved is a lot less. So for your parents, they are saving the cost of living expenses, arranging a visa, and flying you to New Zealand. And our partner universities also all deliver their first year degree programs online. So COVID world and borders being closed are not a distraction. Can you use the foundation result to enter other universities? And the answer is definitely yes. Since 1998, we have had hundreds of students that we are aware of who have used the foundation result to go to other universities. It's very easy within New Zealand, and it's been very easy in Australia. And we know there are students who have done it in other countries, but there are no formal agreements because our universities expect students to study at their university. It's not like Cambridge or IB exams, which you know are recognised every university in the world because they're not tied to any particular university, but our foundation programs are tied to our university. Will foundation deliver to me to all degree pathways at the 3 New Zealand universities? Yes. The degrees listed on the prospectus for each foundation program are available to you. There are 2 degree areas that our 3 universities don't deliver, and doing the FPP program, if you wanted to study at Otago or Messi, would not be of immense value to you. One degree is dentistry and the other is veterinary science. Can all students receive a student visa? So eventually you will have to apply for a visa to come to study in New Zealand. Completing the FPP program or completing the foundation program in India will enable you to meet the academic requirements for entry to New Zealand, but you still need to meet Immigration New Zealand's requirements. All students will be expected to complete a visa application process. This will all be done online, and iQuery, the agency linked to the school, will assist in that matter. And probably the most important thing is that parents have the ability to pay for their fees for their son and daughter. Not only the tuition fees, but they also must be able to pay for their living expenses. Mum and dad aren't expected to have all the money in their bank account at once, but they are expected to have evidence they can at least cover the first years of fees and that they're in stable employment and have the ability, as long as they remain in employment, to fund future study offshore in New Zealand. Can a student work when they're in New Zealand? Absolutely. So once a student commences university, they apply to Immigration New Zealand for permission to work. And currently this means 20 hours per week while they're in study and 40 hours per week during the holiday periods. And here we are, we have some information about the degree pathways that are available to you to look at later. The college will make sure that you get a PDF copy of this presentation, and also they will also send you the 3 copies of the Foundation Studies brochures. We're happy to answer questions at any time, and if we have a smaller group of parents who would like a more detailed focus meeting when I'm present, or one of our staff who are based in region, we're more than happy to assist. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation, and I look forward to assisting you in coming to New Zealand. And once the border is open and once I can travel, I'm looking forward to return to India, a place I've loved and cherished for many, many years. Thank you. Good night.